passport photos ready and beelined for the 2 immigration officials waiting to process the entire flight. I sensed a shit fight, so I quickly filled out my visa application form before fumbling in my bag for the passport photos that I thought I might need. They must be in here somewhere, I thought, although I was fast approaching the last possible hiding place. "Do you want these in a little envelope so you don't lose them?" I remember my girlfriend at the time, Jo, asking me before I left. "Nah, they'll be all right just flapping around loose in this book," I'd said, or something ridiculously stupid like that. Well, they were lost. Of course she was right. There was a little Nepali guy wandering around with an ancient camera, offering poor souls such as myself the opportunity to have their passport-sized photos taken. For $5 US, he could make it happen. "I need photos, but I only have Australian dollars," I said, immediately and naturally dumbing down my accent so that he could properly understand me. "No problem, sir. Just change money over there," he said. I wandered over to the only currency exchange place in the terminal and just kind of stood there and waited in front of an empty desk. "We are closed," boomed a voice from somewhere that I couldn't see. That was the end of that. I spied a solitary ATM a little way down. I skipped off towards it, but was dejected as I read the words, "Out of service," sticky taped across the screen. I sighed and headed back to my little photographer mate. "Sorry, man. That place is closed and the ATM is out of service." "No problem. You got little money." "I only have $50 notes," I said, while staring sheepishly at the floor. The man looked at me with pity. He probably guessed this was the first time I had travelled anywhere. In my defence, I had not been to an airport without 24-hour currency exchange and or a working ATM, and when I'd asked the exchange man in Kuala Lumpur if he had Nepali money, he just laughed without even dignifying my inquiry with a response. "No problem, I fix," he said while ushering me into his little photo booth. He snapped my tired-looking face. "Get in queue." The queue was huge. Every single person on the plane was ahead of me, and the line was not moving. I saw Andy ahead at the front, and he was trying to get my attention. He was frantically waving at me to join him, but I made a gesture that said, "I'm still waiting for my passport photos," holding an imaginary camera up to my face and clicking the shutter button. He gave me a strange look and then turned back around. It was the half-British part of me. I was just too good at queuing. All of a sudden, the little cameraman forcefully grabbed my arm and to my horror began to drag me to the immigration officer. "You'll pay him visa," he said. "Australian dollars, no problem?" I asked. "No problem." The first mistake I'd made was to book the trip for 32 days instead of 30. The difference in visa price ended up being $100 US instead of $30. At that moment, though, I really didn't give a shit. I gave the immigration officer $150 Australian, and he gave me change in American dollars. I gave the photographer $5, and then he reached into my hand and grabbed another $5 note and held it, still in my grasp, while making eye contact with me, as if asking for permission to take it. I nodded and he helped himself. "You are very lucky mans," he said. "Many people in line, and I get you straight to front." I thanked the man before stepping through to a second processing person, whose sole job, as far as I could tell, was to make sure his colleague before him had done his job, and to make the whole process half as efficient. I could feel 200 pairs of eyes boring into the back of my skull. But quite frankly, I didn't really care. The whole process had taken well over an hour, even after leapfrogging everyone. But when I made my way through to the baggage claim, the bags still were not on the carousel. "Welcome to Kathmandu," said Andy, who was leaning up against a pillar with a fed-up look on his face. "It's not so bad. You just got to bribe the photographer." The carousel whirred to life. It sounded like an airplane was taking off inside the terminal building. As luck would have it, my bag was the second one out.